Well, we are here. Hey, Zach.
Hey,
I
Tanya.
I love the countdown. It gets me ready and gives me like that 10 seconds to get my mindset straight. So, hey, Rachel, that was quick. So, real quick, I always say this before we get going. Anybody who's new to lives, we only know you're here if you're comment. So, please say hi. If you're comfortable saying hello, say where you're located. I know Rachel, she's in Washington State. And if you want to be a fly on the wall and not let us know you're here, that's okay too. Snooping is allowed. I'm really excited about today because, I have a lot of guests that are realtors or brokers or lenders. And then once in a while, I have guests like you, Zach, that can help realtors or, anybody, not just realtors. So I get really excited when there's others. I call them my others. So I am tagging you as another. So go ahead and share who you are and what you do. And more importantly, like the banner says, what's your story? How did you get to where you're at?
Yeah. Well, first, I love having non-marketing friends too,
Mm-hmm.
because I totally understand when all your friends are just in the same industry. You need some breathing room sometimes.
Yep.
But I am in marketing, so I've been doing direct response marketing for the past like 10 years. And really, what happened is I was in college running a nutrition and fitness club, and we didn't have any funding because there was a fumble in the handoff from the previous president that was running the club. And so I had no money to bribe college students with pizza to join the club, but we had a list of emails. And at that time, around like 2012, 2013, I was on a lot of email lists. And I figured, well, why can't I just send a daily email to connect with people, to let them know about events, and to build a community through that?
Yeah.
And that got the ball started with that club and made it a really big part of Binghamton University, like where we would do community outreach. We would have people signing up for, our events and working out together. And it was really cool. And I decided to start my business doing that. The problem is I started in business right around when ClickFunnels came out, when it first launched.
Yeah.
So I didn't have access to any of these, definitely no AI tools, but I remember I had to pay a developer almost $400 to put my first sales letter up online and hope that it was good enough to get clients and test it out, because social media wasn't super
Right.
huge. Like, there's nothing, there were no funnel hacking, there's none of these easier tools. And it was tough. I was just finishing college, like I was living at home. I had basically no revenue coming in from my business, and I was just dependent on these marketing skills that were growing but weren't very developed to provide an income for me, to give me a career, because I decided that I didn't want to. I went to school for engineering. I decided I didn't
Yep.
want to do that. I wanted to really pursue what I loved. And I got really good at the marketing stuff by failing a lot, and wanted to help other business owners in that same boat that love what they do and just aren't natural marketers or natural writers, and take that away from
Yeah.
them.
I'll raise both hands on that one. I am not a natural writer or a natural marketer. Natural coach, I'll take that one. So
Yeah.
anyway, sorry I interrupted, but that resonated with me. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's that's just how I got my start. Things got a little chaotic after I realized I wanted to really help these business owners with their marketing. And I actually, just from past marketing events and networking, closed two clients working on their websites and some email campaigns. Realized this was doable, to
Yep.
because I made more money in that weekend. And I could talk about that, just a few simple texts that landed me a few clients. Um, so I moved to Arizona from New York,
Wow.
and that's when I really struggled getting clients. And I was trying everything under the sun because I had skin in the game. I needed money for rent, for food. I was totally on my own, not living with my parents.
Yep.
And that was when I learned this concept of, sounds intense, but bullet to the head copywriting that Gary Halpert talks a lot about, is a copywriting teacher.
Yep.
And it's really just, you have to look at every word you're sending out and make sure that when you're writing your messaging, that it connects, because you're going to send these letters out or send these campaigns out. And it's a lot faster today with social media and email. But
Sure.
back in the day, if you had to send letters out, you wouldn't get paid until about 30 days later,
Right. Makes
because
sense. Yep.
yeah, you print everything, you put it in envelopes. Like I was looking at envelopes and putting stamps, and so I might be one of the last people uh, in my age group that still knows how to properly format and send a letter,
A
which
letter.
is
Yes. That's
um,
cool. Well, no, I have a
yeah,
client that literally texted me before the live, said, I just got my 100 letters out, coach. So
nice.
my clients are still doing, I want them to do email, newsletters, things like that. Although I do want some of that personal touch too. When somebody actually gets an envelope that's handwritten with a stamp on it, it's still powerful.
And it's so interesting in marketing. A lot of the times, it's this pendulum that there's the principles of how to capture someone's attention, how to talk about the benefits and their interests. Like, that doesn't change. In
Yeah.
terms of the medium, you know, it's a lot easier to send out a ton of cold emails today that get lost in people's inbox. And
Mm-hmm.
it's, you have people, and it's not just people in the States, it's like international. You have people, I get DMs from India about cutting up my videos and sending it out. And just,
Yep.
I share that just because it's a huge open playing field. But sending physical mail, it's rare, and it stands out more,
Yep.
and it has a different feel and a different connotation behind that message, that you took the
Yep.
time to send that out that way. And
Right.
so it's really interesting that you could stand out, even if you have the same message, even if you send that cold email as a handwritten letter or direct letter, postcard, whatever it is. It
Right.
can get a much better response just from that, which is always interesting to me.
Yeah. Yes. And so I have a curious question around your emails using the right, your messaging using the right words. How do you know what the right words are?
Yeah, I always view I always view it as a conversation. So the tricky thing with email is you're intentionally sending out an email blast to 10, 100, 1,000, huge numbers of people, that makes it difficult to pinpoint your messaging because it
Yep.
doesn't feel personal from you. The best way to view it, it's as if you're at a bar or at Starbucks and you're having a conversation on your phone, and someone in line taps you on the shoulder and says, "Hey, what you said is really interesting. I'd love to talk more about that." So
Yep.
it's as if you're talking to one person, and you're getting them to continue reading or listening to what you're saying. And that's the secret of really, really good marketing. And now, tactically, there are different ways of expressing that, because it ties into the idea of value, which, it's a cool word, but it's not very tactical, because
Right.
value can mean anything.
Right. And it's different for other people.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
And
I
so,
go
yeah.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what's typically valuable is, aside from entertainment, it's about helping people make the decision and being there with them. And so in the real estate market, giving them information about, and I think we talked about this a little bit in the past, but giving them information about, here's this local deal or this house that's on the market, and there's the facts of it, which is cool. It's valuable that you're presenting this so they don't have to go research it. But if you can go the extra mile and say, this house is very cool because it's actually a 10-minute walk from the elementary school and it has
Yep.
3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. So I like this if you have a family or you're looking to start one, versus if you're a single person, you're living in a condo or some a different place that might
Yeah.
stress.
Well, they might stress where the gym is or the local bar is.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
But no, I can see how important that is. Absolutely. It could be like it's a 5-minute walk to the dog park or whatever, right? Or if you have kids, like you say, to the elementary school, that is going the extra mile besides just saying it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-story, open floor plan home, right?
Yes.
Yes, we want to know that and how cool it is when you go the extra mile. Hey, Susanna. Yay. I'm going to actually change. So, okay. So I can see Susanna's in from LinkedIn. So the chat's working because last time I only had Facebook people, but let me change the
Nice.
overlay for a minute and see what that's going to look like. And then we'll switch it back because now see can you move your camera? Maybe if you,
like this?
yeah, no, I still can't see your name. All right. Well, yeah, we're just going to go back. Susanna or Rachel, if the chat is funky, let us know, okay? Because I don't have the overlay on for the chat, which makes a difference. So I'm going to rely on you guys to tell me if we need to change it. So I'm going to give you a compliment that I've noticed because I signed up for your emails and I get them and I really like them. And so this is true because I heard you say, you wanted to speak to like the individual, like you wanted to sound like you're talking to them. And you had one of your emails, I read it and I was in a hurry. And but I opened it. And then a few minutes later, I went, oh, that was really interesting. And I thought, oh crap, I need to go respond because he was sending it directly to me and you weren't. But it felt, I mean, seriously, I said that, like, I can't ignore that one. It wasn't one of your, direct emails. I thought that you had really sent something to me as a tip. And I went back and went, wow, that was pretty powerful. And you just said it. It was a true story as I'm sitting here. It was like, that's I thought cool. You had sent it to me directly, so I didn't respond, but it was, it really did happen.
I love responses. But yeah, this is one of the weird copywriting things that I do, but I used to, after my time in Arizona, I was headhunted to work with a company in California. And we had a partnership with Agora Financial, which is this billion-dollar company that's based in Maryland that sells information products. So it's basically copy is the backbone of that company. And so they have these copy dolls that they use for their company. And they have all of their team members get one of these. And theirs is an old guy, Grandpa Kurt. So I have 2 different ones for, this was with the company I was working with in California through Jason Capital and working with him. And then this is, I want like a cooler looking one, but this is the business owner that I'm working with now. But it helps you have one specific person to speak to or to write to.
That's a great tip. All right. Yeah. So I know Rachel is a real estate agent, and Rachel, I hope you don't mind me saying that. I apologize if you didn't want me to say that. But she's a good one. And I know that you have emails, right? And that there are real estate companies that provide templates, or they're already pre-done. So it's already pre-done. So it's not, it's just something that they give you, which they do. And Rachel says, not at all. Okay, thank you. So if you have any questions, Rachel, please, and same thing with you, Susanna, if you're, because I know Susanna is growing, and she's very out of the box. And Zach is very out of the box. So that's a great connection for you, Susanna. So please feel free to ask any questions while we're talking about email marketing and marketing in general. It is something that I am just starting to dip my toe into. And that's how Zach and I met in another networking event. However, it really sparked my interest because it's something that I need to add to my business model for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So because I know you were just talking about real estate and you don't mind me saying where you're from, where you're at, where
Me?
you're
Oh,
located?
no, no,
No.
no, that's fine.
Okay. So Zach
Yeah.
is looking for a home in Puerto Rico of all places. So how did you get, so I heard you went from New York, you were in Bingham University when you went to Arizona. So from there, did you get to Puerto Rico or how did you get to Puerto Rico?
So I went, I'm sorry, I got distracted by the chat. So I ended up going from Arizona to work with this company. I was getting mentored in marketing by Bedros Koulian and Jason Capital, who, if you don't know them, that's cool too. I'm just being specific because they started a business together and needed a copywriter so that they could focus on the higher leverage pieces of their business instead of writing the emails, managing the list, doing
Mm-hmm.
some of the website stuff. So I ended up moving from Arizona there because I thought it was a great opportunity since I was already
Yep.
paying them for coaching, getting to work with them inside that business. I couldn't pass that up. So I lived there for a while and then the company moved to Puerto Rico and I decided to move along with
With
them because
cool.
yeah, like Orange County is beautiful and it's a really nice place, but I just didn't feel the community there. And there
Yep.
wasn't, because I'd moved around a bunch, there wasn't anything keeping me there. So I
Mm-hmm.
decided to move with everyone to Puerto Rico. And that was about 6 years ago. And so I started I don't know how deep to go into this, but basically I was renting a property. I was looking at a few places to buy, and I found the person I was renting from was really eager to sell, and it worked out. I just ended up buying from her, and it was great.
Very cool. Very nice. So do you like Puerto Rico? Is Puerto Rico home for
Yeah,
you?
yeah. Puerto Rico's
Feels
home
like
for
home.
me.
I've only been to
Yeah.
Puerto Rico once. I used to live on a boat and many, many years ago, many, many, many years ago. Hey, Jamie. And I was 17. So hopped on a boat with a guy, lived on a sailboat. We bought and sold, we would fix them up. We'd buy them, fix them up, sell them, buy a bigger one, fix it up, sell it. So it was like moving up. My last boat was like 65 feet. It was gorgeous. But we used to have to fly back to the States. And it seemed like we always
Okay.
changed planes in Puerto Rico. But of course, I was at the airport. But one time we had like a 5 hour, 6 hour layover. So there were no Ubers back then, there were taxis. So we got in a taxi and had the taxi for a couple of hours take us around Puerto Rico. So that's the one and only time I've ever been there. But it was absolutely gorgeous.
That's
Absolutely
awesome.
gorgeous. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, Jamie, we're talking about marketing, and I know, Jamie has a phenomenal real estate team in the Seattle area. So please shout out any questions you have about email marketing, any kind of marketing for Zach. This is the time to do it. He's phenomenal at his craft. I was, bragging about him earlier about how I thought he was emailing directly to me. But that's how good it was. And I thought it was directed right to me. So please shout out questions. So what would be like one or two tips you'd want to give to a business owner? And um, I know Susanna is not a realtor, but what would you give for advice either on what would be out of the box? I mean, obviously market updates, the listings we have or whatever like that,
Mm.
those would be something people could email on, but what would be something that would be more creative? Or any kind of
Yeah,
tips? I'm kind of putting you on the spot, not giving you a whole lot of time to think about it. But what kind of tips would you want them to hear?
yeah. One thing that's interesting is first, I would look at the context of email marketing in your business. So before you do anything extensive with email marketing, I would focus on is is the priority more to build your list instead of spending more time writing and focusing on emails, or do you have a large list? Is it mainly buyers? Do you have buyers and sellers? Like who's on the list? Why are they on there? What can you offer them? Because the big part of the email list is to educate and motivate people to make that buying decision, and that's going to get you the most in terms of revenue and relationships. Secondary to that, I would say if you're in real estate, so I'm curious too about your approach to it, because in my head, a successful realtor will take one specific block in a zip code and own it, or like they would know all the lakefront home properties, around this one lake, and they would really focus on if anyone wants information about buying there, or if any of those homeowners are interested in the value of their house or interested in selling their house, they would just be the person who owns that niche in the market. Is
Right.
that okay? Cool.
Yeah, so that is something. So that is part of, like, when I'm coaching my realtor clients, that is part of the marketing, is that subdivision or area, like you say, lakefront homes, waterfront properties. Like for Jamie, I'm sure she would love to focus on waterfront properties in the Seattle area, right? Or bayfront properties. And also it's newsletters or emails to their database. So it may be,
Yep.
Jamie probably has 200 plus. And I have clients who are new that may only have 10, but I want them to be sending them something of value every month, or whatever the frequency is. Some of my clients do it once a week. Some are twice a month. Most are probably once a month right now.
Got it. And once a month isn't the worst for a buying decision. Um, I I like to send emails even a little bit more frequently, once a week, and
Yep.
I would even test it. But if you're in your business, I would start thinking both upstream and downstream.
Yeah.
So as if you're just sending a monthly email with, here's the properties, or, here's a market update or something like that, that's good. I like to think, what are the common concerns or questions that people are going to have if they're looking to buy or sell a house?
Yep.
And so, because I'm also in the market for this.
Right. So I don't know if you heard,
emails,
Jamie, but Zach is buying a home in Puerto Rico. So he's right now dealing with real estate. Yes. I'm so thinking of I do have a client, she lives in North Carolina, who sends out an email every week. And like, it is, I don't think it's niche focused. I think it goes out to everybody, but don't quote me. And hey, Aurelia. And that email goes like, she'll have what's happening in her community, like the tree lighting ceremonies or where the pumpkin patches are, right? So one week it might be community oriented. One week it might be a geared towards promoting other local businesses.
Yep.
And then she'll have like market updates and listings. So she kind of like rotates through. And again, I'm not the expert in this. I love that she does it, but if you have any, tips, but I do want to back up though, because I saw a question from Jamie.
Yep.
Yeah, no, so we haven't really talked much about that, so go for it.
Yep. So AI it's a good tool for brainstorming. The weird thing is AI can create these movies, essentially, like movies on the level that Pixar can create movies, or at least for 1 minute at a time. Like there's a new software or plugin called Sora that can do that. I saw that. It's amazing. They can generate these amazing images. But in terms of writing, the writing comes out dense. Like it's not conversational. It's not easy to read or understand.
Yep.
So I like to use ChatGPT. In part, it could help you come up with a really good conversation. So one prompt I like to use is um, come up with a play that one person has successfully bought a house, and the more specific you can give it, the better. So it's one guy bought a house for his wife and two kids in, you know, on a lakefront or, something like that. And he's giving advice to his friend who is looking to get the same outcome. And it'll be interesting because across the 3-act play that it spits out, you'll hear first, you'll see what advice is given, which is interesting because as the expert, you might get too close
Yeah.
to your expertise, and people might be, I don't know. Like one of the things we were talking about is we went into the community, all the houses were the same color. We were concerned, oh, does the HOA stop people from painting their house different colors, or what's the story with that? And you might be really focusing on, they probably have questions about financing or this or that, or
Yeah.
I don't want to give specifics because I know I might be way off, but there may be disconnects depending on who you're selling to and where they're at. So that's what I like asking ChatGPT for. I
Yeah.
also like ChatGPT for coming up with different options of like, how would you explain this concept to a third grader? Like, how would you
Yeah.
explain financing to a third grader? How would you explain like different incentives or
Yep. Yeah.
loans or maybe
I'm gonna
yeah.
I'm gonna interrupt you because I have a great example. So I have a client, and he was creating a flyer, and he sent, and I love the design, and then he had all the verbiage in the flyer. So I emailed him back one sentence: "Is this you or ChatGPT?" Because I knew the answer, right? I mean, I knew the answer. And so I wasn't like trying to catch him in a lie or anything. I wanted to teach him a lesson that he sent me the flyer, and he probably created it in Canva, and it looked really pretty and very professional. But I did. It's like, did you write this or did ChatGPT? And within like 2 seconds, I get a response like, "Huh, ChatGPT." I'm like, "Great, do it again." Like, this was a great outline, and it gave you a format, but it didn't sound
Yes.
like him whatsoever. It is like, I don't know the words. I like the word dense. That's the first time I heard the word dense. It's just not it just not authentic. It just there's something to it that I can tell right away. That is ChatGPT. And then another example is that I was talking with a coach today, and asked me, said, was looking at my website, a friend of mine, an acquaintance, and he said, "You know what? I would really recommend you have a frequently asked FAQ part of your website," which I never thought of. I don't have yet, and I thought that was a great idea. And so I'm trying to brainstorm. Well, what would be a good FAQ? And I was really stumped. So I went to ChatGPT and said, position yourself as a business coach, creating a website. What would be common, frequently asked questions for someone looking for a business coach, or for a realtor looking for a business coach? And it came up with some really good ones. And some of them, and then it gave me the answers. I'm like, no, I've
Yeah.
got to do my own answers. Right.
Well, it's
But it got my creative juices going.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's interesting. So the example I like to use when I'm teaching copywriters about this is you could take something as simple as I'm walking down the street. I could walk down the street. I could stroll down the street. I could
Right.
strut down the street. It's all describing the same outcome. And maybe based on how Chat GPT is or any AI tool is trained, it understands and it uses the most likely word that will come next based on what it's trained on.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
it might not. Part of marketing is getting that attention and getting the feel of the words right. So it's not, you don't necessarily want the most predictable word. You might want something that stands out more. You might want something that has a little bit of a negative connotation, or, brightens up the sentence, or,
Yeah.
makes it flow better. Like I don't know how to quantify it, but it's very different getting a chat GPT email that explains to me why I would want a house versus almost getting a story on the property from someone that I know is writing it and cares, and you
Yeah.
could feel that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to circle back to the very beginning of our conversation, how when when you have realtors doing, MLS, they're in the multiple listing service describing their property, and they'll, talk about the 3 bedrooms, the 2 bath, the open floor plan, but how much more powerful and impactful when they write it's a 5-minute walk to the elementary school or whatever, that is that's night and day. That's, meeting the bar of a realtor versus exceeding the bar.
Yeah, and it's the example that came to my head is you could understand in an email communication
Yep.
that a property is next to the beach or on the lake. But when you go in and you see the sunset from the kitchen
Yep.
over that lake, it's a totally different experience. And a
Right.
lot of times, ChatGPT will tell you factually what it is,
Yeah.
but it doesn't add that experience of. I don't think anything could add the experience of actually
No.
seeing that, but you get a lot
But if you
closer
use the right
with the right
words,
words.
right? Yes.
Yep.
So I know what I'm taking away today is using the right words. What, talking to one person. When I write an email, I need to talk to one person and use the right words, and um maybe just get you to do it for me
Yeah.
too, as a good option. Anybody want to ask any more questions? Because we are at the half-hour mark. We're actually, wow, we're over the half-hour mark. Because I could keep asking you tons of questions. Anybody else on
Oh,
emails? Or let me turn the banner back on. Hold on just a second.
yep.
Let me get your banner back up there. There it goes.
Hey.
Yeah. So Zach's on LinkedIn. That's primarily where I'm at too. And there's his email. So please feel free to reach out to Zach if you have more specific questions or want to talk about his services. Do you want to talk about your services before we hang up? Because this is for you, why we're here.
Oh,
So
yeah.
what else would you like to talk about before I turn us off?
Yes. So first, I also saw a comment from Jamie that emailing once a week might be too
Mm-hmm.
much for most people.
Yeah.
And honestly, it might be for some of them. The way that I like to do this is email softwares can let you choose what group of people to send emails to. And some people will eat your emails up.
Yes.
And that's important because sending an email once a week may seem like a lot when you think of just email. But when people talk about social media or Instagram, they're talking about posting daily or, you know,
Yep.
maybe not in real estate, but in coaching, especially, they're like, you got to post 3 times a day. All the videos of Gary Vee ranting, you got to post 100 times a week on all these platforms and do all this stuff. So posting or sending out a weekly email doesn't, it gets diluted by everything else that they're getting and everything else that they're
Right.
seeing.
Yeah.
In
Well, and
terms
I
of,
also, and I do want to reiterate what you just said, because I do have a real estate client in the Carolinas who does email once a week, and I suspect, I don't know what her open rate. I don't have that memorized, but it's a pretty decent open rate, and yeah, they can choose to open it or not open it. If it feels a lot, they can unsubscribe, which maybe you don't want them to unsubscribe. It's a choice to open it. It's okay if they're overwhelmed or too busy, like, oh, I'll catch Jamie's next one, right? It's
yep.
or whatever it might be. But there are going to be people like with my client in North Carolina, she has like a 60% open rate. They obviously really like her content because it's different. Like I said, yes, it's a market update. Yes, it's listings, but it's also the community services and community events. One email is always promoting another business owner that they might like, like a roofer, a carpet cleaner, a handyman, right? So she's always promoting people. they usually give some sort of deal or coupon. So they're opening it up to see if there's a deal or coupon. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone's ever told her you're emailing me too much.
And that's the last thing I want to talk about to close that loop, because a successful email program is based on your promotional calendar. So if you could even take a month or the next 4 weeks
Mm-hmm.
and say, hey, for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to talk about, I have a market update, and then I'll include a local business here, or I'll do an affiliate with someone else. When I was doing a lot of marketing for restaurants, which is because I started off when I was living at home working on my business. I needed money. I was working as a bartender, and I was doing some marketing for them too. A cool thing that I was looking into were different um, affiliate opportunities or
Yep.
joint venture opportunities, where there's a movie theater 3 blocks away. If we're a restaurant, why not give them 10% off or a free drink or whatever it is if they bring in a ticket stub from the movie theater
Right.
and start a relationship with that movie theater, and it could go both ways.
Both ways. Yep.
Maybe they
Yeah.
get a discount on the local theater and they come there, and whatever it may be. Especially if you're talking to buyers and sellers of houses, they might need financing, and who knows what kind of financing they need. They might have to go through someone that you can have a referral relationship with or an affiliate relationship with. They might need movers, house painters, roofers, like you were
Oh,
talking about.
it's unlimited how
Yeah.
many people you could be, affiliated with, and that's a big part of my coaching is the B2B
Yep.
piece, right? So, and so that one client takes it to the next level where I know at least once a month she's promoting somebody, in one of her 4 emails a month that she does. So, it's I obviously we were on the same page where this is an important part of growing your business, or it can be
Yeah.
a really effective way of growing your business. So Aurelia asks, are video newsletters a thing? So I can't answer that. That's on you.
Yeah. So I would say first, video, text, and audio are they can all be turned into each other, because the reason why I share that, why it's so important to know that, is because yes, video newsletters are a thing, but if you're not good on video and you don't want to be on video, you don't have to create video newsletters. Or if you're really good at video newsletters, you can get them transcribed and turn them into blog posts, emails, LinkedIn posts. You could take the audio and take it, if it's a 5-10 minute audio, whatever, you could turn it into a podcast for real estate in your area. There's a lot of different options there. And where email comes into that is email can help distribute everything. So a lot of times, even if it's a Facebook group, a LinkedIn, a Twitter post, wherever you are online, podcast, wherever it is, um, the algorithm can limit your reach, especially if it's a new video. And the more traffic you get to that content at the start, the better it'll do on any social media platform. And so you could take your email list, which are going to be people that love you so much, they decided to hop into your email list and give you their email, and tell them, hey, I have this new video or this new content or this new blog post about XYZ, and offer to send them there. And so that way it keeps the email really short, so they don't have to read it. They don't have to be bothered by it, that it's too long to read. And it also gets people clicking and engaging on your email, which is really important just for a
Yep.
healthy newsletter list, because it shows that you're human. If people are clicking, if they're forwarding or replying or doing all these actions. So you can have video by posting videos on YouTube or having it as a podcast. That's one way of doing it. You can even send personalized or semi-personalized videos out to people and kind of keep it private. So we used to do that. That was just a perk for the newsletter, that we would have a landing page, and a lot of email service providers will allow you to set up your own landing pages. And we would just really simple with the headline and the video of just a private teaching video that's exclusive to the list, and even offer to get people onto a call or wherever. There's a lot of different strategies to it, but it really depends on what you're looking to do with it.
Got
So I
it.
do like video.
Yeah. Well, I do know, I'm going to have full transparency. I have a pretty decent open rate on my emails, but a really low click rate.
Mm.
So that would be something, you and I can talk on about offline here, but my click rate is really bad, like 1%. That's about what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. So unhappy about that. Yeah. Okay,
So what
cool.
I like to focus on,
No, go
I
ahead.
was gonna
No.
talk a little bit about what I do,
Yes,
if that's
please.
cool.
No, it is.
Awesome. So what I like to do is create these value newsletters and come up with these automatic systems that turn your audience into calls on your calendar and buyers. And I have a few different ways I do that depending on what you're selling and how big the list is. Where, yeah, that could, I don't want to get too into the weeds with that, but there's a lot of um, email automation set up to turn everyone who gets onto your list through a crafted sequence that will get them onto a call with you or show them your best stuff, or send them more timely value newsletters, or just be really focused on reaching the right people that are on your list for the right opportunities.
Right. I almost want you to say that again, but hold up. So Aurelia says that is a
Okay.
great idea. I'm not sure which was the great idea, but I know he has lots of great ideas. So that's cool. Karen Henson is from San Francisco Bay Area, California. We are talking about email marketing, Karen. I definitely will have you go back, or encourage you to go back and listen to some of the tips. But say that again, because about what you do and how you just say that again, because it was super powerful. I want to make sure that everybody heard it.
Yes. Okay. I don't know if I could repeat it verbatim,
Yeah, but
but
yes, try. No
yes.
pressure.
So there's three main things that I do depending on what your business and what your goals really are. So the first are installing and creating these email automations, which is this conveyor belt that once someone gets on your list, we build up trust and credibility and then turn them into a booked call or a sale, depending on what you're offering. And that might not be the best fit for someone buying a house because that can change over time. Hopefully, you don't have a house sitting on the market long enough that you would need this autoresponder machine. The second piece, which is more flexible, is creating a value newsletter. And that's mailing out. Usually, I start with at least 3 times a week for coaches, but some agencies I work with or other business models need 1 time a week. And that's really continuing to stay in front of your audience and stay top of mind to again turn those into uh, calls or clicks to relevant landing pages.
Yeah.
And then the last one is really collaborating and partnering with a business where we come up with an offer and we find the right people on your list to sell it to.
Right.
And so that's more of a partnership offer.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give my business as an example. I have phenomenal clients and phenomenal past clients, and I'd like to send them a newsletter of something of value around whatever it is, fear, imposter syndrome, or getting more referrals. However, I also have a part of my business where I want people clicking and booking calls with me. So for
Yep.
me, I'd have two different funnels, right? Is that what you call it? Or how does that make
So,
sense? Or am I wording it wrong?
well, no, the idea is that it would be, are you talking about for coaching in general for both of
Well,
those?
yeah. So I'm wanting people that I've never spoken to who don't know
Yes.
me, right? Booking complimentary coach calls with me. and I want to add value to my current clients, past clients, my database of clients
Yep.
where I'm not targeting them to book a call with me. They will, right? Hold on just a second though. Karen Henson, can I use you as an example, or would you like to keep your stuff private? Can you put a yes or a no in the chat before I say anything? If you're still here, because I don't want to just assume it's okay. Because I can see my business can grow with email marketing, and I'm not doing probably even a third. I'm maybe only doing a fourth of what I could be doing. So Karen says yes. So Karen is a phenomenal, very successful real estate agent who's now growing a brokerage. So where I encourage Karen to come on this chat was she's now looking for agents, real estate agents that she doesn't know, right? So
Yep.
she's in the San Francisco Bay Area. She wants agents to call her and say, I want to talk to you about joining your brokerage. Where that's new for Karen, where she's been selling real estate, that's solid. And I know she's got a great, following there, but now she's got a new leg of her business. What would you recommend?
Yeah. So there's going to be one big benefit of being in a brokerage for the person that she wants to attract. So what
Mm-hmm.
is the benefit is that was loud, that you share resources, that like what would you say off the top of your head are three reasons why someone would want to join a brokerage?
Well, why they would want to join Karen's brokerage, I can answer that
Yeah.
easily. I mean, I know you probably want Karen to answer it, but I can answer it. And, it's the care that she gives them, the attention that she gives them. She offers them coaching, and she is on top of the market. I mean,
Yeah.
right. She's super on top of, and I don't want to call out any brokers, but some brokers have they just not, they bury their head in the sand and they're just kind of halfway there, or they're too busy. I don't want to be negative or say anything negative. However, I know Karen's on top of the market. She knows what she's doing. She's great at holding new agents' hands. So, how does she find those agents via email? Is it like a lead magnet? What does she do?
Yeah. So the
And
first and
I'm
most
gonna have her call you, but like, right? There's probably other realtors that are listening. Like, how does a broker attract agents that they don't know?
Yeah. So the first and most important thing is going to be to have a lead magnet to get the right people onto your list. So again, the email list, the role of it, we talked about that earlier, is to educate and motivate. So we're not using the email list exactly as a sales tool. What we're using it is for the small percentage of people that buy immediately upon knowing you, um, and turning the rest that don't buy from you into buyers over time, which is, I said that very confusingly, but the idea is with follow up, 4 to 5 times more people will buy from you that are in market, they're interested. They just need to know you a little bit more. They need to get more touch points from you. They need to see more about how you work, who you are, and learn more about your business. And so starts with a lead magnet. I would make the lead magnet very targeted. And the way that I like to think of it is a 10% promise. So let's say, just big sweeping generalization, anyone who would want to join the brokerage wants to make $1 million from real estate, or six figures, or some amount of money from real estate. It's about their career and finances. And so if you had a lead magnet that talked about how um, how you could you know a script, a cold calling script, or virtual door knocking to get more leads, which is some kind of funnel that you get people onto a Zoom call and talk to them about their house and get them as a lead, and do stuff like that. I use that with what's it called, a solar company that I was working with, but something that's very specific and solves a key problem that's top of mind for your audience. They get that little bit of value. They get onto your email list. the first thing I like to have is that autoresponder sequence that continues the conversation. So a lead magnet, to me, it's the equivalent of someone knocking on your door and sticking their head in, but then you have to continue that conversation.
Yeah.
Yes. And then with the email list, with what you were saying, it's one and the same. That the I like to think like a doctor, where the symptoms they have, maybe they are nervous about getting rejected. Maybe they don't know how to keep track of all their sales conversations. Maybe they're nervous because they're selling really expensive homes and they're not comfortable with money that they can quote these prices, or they don't know how to sell. And
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, it's a great house in a great neighborhood. Do you want to buy it? Instead of, digging in of like, oh, this is a great nook to have breakfast with your family, or, you can entertain in this area, and really pulling out the sales stuff. And all of those things can become tactically different lists that you send to people that are easily consumed as content, different case studies or testimonials of, hey, when I first started out, I was selling, a $2 million home, and I lost the first sale because I, kept getting nervous when I was saying the price, because I could never afford that. I never made that much money in my whole life. And then I realized this thing, and it solved my problem. And so that's the top half of the email. What I like to do as a call to action is usually as a PS at the bottom. So it's almost like, you got this email, the email's over. If you're still reading, here's how I can help you. You can get on a call with me and we could discuss what it looks like for you to be part of our brokerage team and get trained by us and have access, to this stuff. You can get my book. You can join my group. You can, do whatever. And that's where we're able to nurture and maximize the relationship, but also maximize your revenue by giving them the option at the end. So the whole email isn't about the sale, but when you go first and you give that value, and you value in terms of a tip, a resource, even a story, and just validating them and letting them know, hey, it can be hard. Like, you get rejected a lot, and it's not like, I don't know.
I
don't
get it.
imagine,
I've been in your shoes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And share a story. I think stories are powerful, and sharing stories is really important. It's important. Anyway, we're going way over time. So I'm going to put let me put your caption up one more time for anybody who came in. Come on. There it goes. And so thank you, Zach. I know, I told you a half an hour, and we're probably close to an hour. We're close to an hour. So I apologize. I try to honor time better than that, but you had great stuff to share. So thank you very much. I encourage everybody, if you're interested in bettering your email system or starting one, going deeper with, your business, please reach out to Zach. And thanks, everybody. Yeah. I actually have an outro, but I can't find it. So I'm just going to stop the end stream. Actually, the caption's hiding.
Sing a little bit for us.
Yeah. No. My kids actually, we went on a cruise a long time ago, and there was karaoke, and so I jokingly said, "Oh, I'm going to go up and sing a song," and my kids are all like, "Everyone's going to yell, 'Abandon ship, Mom! Don't you dare!'" So no. That stuck with me for life. Anyway, thank you, Zach. I really appreciate your time, and here it is. All right, guys.